There's a moment in every person's life that feels like the end. A strange silence before everything changes. It's that heavy stillness when nothing seems to make sense, when the weight of your own existence presses down like a storm you can't escape. But here's the truth. What you think is falling apart is actually falling into place. Every breakdown is a disguised breakthrough. The Stoics understood this, that before the mind ascends, it must first be tested, shattered, and refined. Welcome to Mind Hack Stoic, where we uncover the hidden order behind your chaos. There's a strange and silent moment that appears right before transformation. It's the point where life feels unbearable, where every plan fails and every comfort disappears. But beneath that confusion, something ancient begins to stir, a quiet awakening. The Stoics knew this moment well. They understood that before the mind reaches clarity, it must walk through darkness, solitude, and pain. Epictetus once said, "Difficulties are the things that show what men are. What you face before your breakthrough isn't punishment. It's the universe testing how close you are to becoming who you were meant to be. When everything starts falling apart, but you stop complaining, that's the first sign. Life begins stripping away what's weak. The people who drained you disappear. The illusions you once worshipped collapse. The plans you built crumble overnight. And though it feels like loss, it's actually purification. You begin to outgrow the noise. You stop begging the world for peace and start cultivating it within yourself. Seneca once wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." What feels like chaos is just your old self burning away, making space for strength, awareness, and calm. The more you grow, the more life will demand proof. Proof that your calm is real. Proof that your purpose is steady. You might lose friends, comfort, even identity, but if you remain still when the world shakes, you'll understand. You're close. Because life trembles hardest right before it lets you through. Then comes a quiet shift. You lose interest in proving yourself. At first it feels strange. You stop explaining your plans. You stop defending your silence. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth to anyone. That's not arrogance. It's awakening. You've realized that most people can't see beyond their own fears or projections. So you stop wasting energy trying to convince them of your truth. You stop performing. You stop rushing. You stop chasing validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's what happens here. You stop talking about growth and start embodying it. You no longer crave to be seen because you've seen yourself. You no longer demand to be understood because you understand who you are. This changes your entire energy. You move slower, but every movement has meaning. You speak less, but every word carries weight. People notice something different about you, a presence that feels heavier, quieter, more deliberate. Those who chase noise won't understand it, but those who live in truth will feel drawn to it. You become like a mountain, silent, still, yet filled with immense unseen power. Your breakthrough arrives, not with applause, but with stillness. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It feels like peace, a calm certainty that you no longer need the world as permission to be who you are. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That is the price of evolution, letting go of the world's gaze long enough to see yourself clearly. When your silence grows louder than your words, when your peace feels stronger than other people's approval, when the breakthrough has already happened. But it's not gentle. Before it comes together, everything falls apart. When you stand on the edge of transformation, life doesn't ease up. It becomes brutal. People walk away, opportunities vanish, certainty disappears. It feels like betrayal from the universe itself. But this is not destruction. It's refinement. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor strengthens the body." What feels like chaos is the sculptor's hand, cutting away everything that doesn't belong to your next version. Darkness before dawn. Pain before purpose. The final stage before transformation is disorder. Life tests what parts of the old you still remain, your fears, attachments, and doubts. It's a battlefield where your old identity dies and your new one is born. The Stoics called this inner transformation prohairesis, the power to choose your response regardless of circumstance. This is where your discipline is revealed as truth or illusion. When the untrained mind panics, the Stoic remains still. Because he knows, nothing real can be destroyed. Only illusions burn. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Every obstacle in this stage isn't blocking your path, it is your path. The pain, the loneliness, the uncertainty, these are not punishments, they are purification. The universe is testing whether you can remain calm when nothing makes sense. When everything crumbles, it's not your world that's breaking, it's your former self. The version of you that needed validation, the one that feared judgment, the one addicted to control. All of that must die before you rise. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom isn't peace when life is calm. It's peace when everything around you falls apart. That's what this storm teaches you, how to stay unmoved when the world shakes. So if everything in your life feels like it's collapsing right now, breathe. You're not being punished. You're being refined. The universe doesn't destroy what's unworthy. It refines what's ready. When you stop resisting the storm, you'll see it for what it truly is. Not chaos, but construction. The breaking you hear isn't the end. It's the sound of your limits shattering. And then comes the silence. Deep, unsettling silence. Friends fade away. Distractions lose their pull. The world grows quiet until it's just you, face to face with your own thoughts. Most people run from this silence because it feels lonely, but the Stoics called it sacred. It's not emptiness, it's alignment. Epictetus said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This silence is your initiation. It's the moment you detach from the world long enough to hear your inner voice again. In this stillness, your emotions get louder. Doubt whispers. Fear tests you. Old wounds resurface. But that's not cruelty. It's preparation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That is where strength is forged. As your mind quiets, your energy changes. You stop chasing attention. You stop craving approval. You begin to crave solitude, truth, and discipline. You start to understand that control doesn't come from dominating others. It comes from mastering your own reactions. You no longer explain yourself. Not because you have nothing to say, but because peace has become your language. Seneca once said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." Most people scatter their energy trying to be seen. You, however, have arrived. Fully, presently, powerfully. You see the truth now. Most people are running from themselves. You've stopped running. You've chosen stillness. And in that stillness, you're reborn. The silence that once scared you now empowers you. The solitude that once felt empty now feels sacred. You no longer beg for meaning because you've become the meaning. That's what the Stoics meant by apatheia. Not coldness, but mastery over destructive emotion. You feel deeply, but you no longer bow to your feelings. You care, but you're no longer enslaved by what you care about. You're not seeking peace anymore. You are peace. So if you find yourself in the quiet, if the world feels distant, if people have faded and life seems still, don't run from it. Sit with it. Listen. That silence is not the absence of life. It is life in its purest form, the moment before everything changes. The storm isn't your ending. It's your beginning. You are not breaking down. You are breaking through. Welcome to your transformation. Welcome to Mind Hack Stoic.